crop circles appear around the world, but the large majority are found in Wiltshire, a small corner of southwest England.
This is amazing.
Some claim a mystical link between the circles and Wiltshire's.
The uncanny has a way of slipping into the ordinary, unnoticed, until one day the ground itself seems to whisper in symbols. Something changed in the quiet fields of Wiltshire, England, when, night after night, intricate formations began to appear amidst the wheat and barley. Long dismissed as pranks or dismissed entirely, these patterns persisted, evolving in complexity, scale, and precision. What was once a curiosity became a problem, a fascination, and finally, a puzzle that refuses to be shelved. For decades, skeptics and believers have argued over the origin of these crop circles. Are they merely illusions crafted by pranksters under cover of darkness? Or do they hint at something far deeper, messages encoded in geometry, energy signatures unaccounted for, or phenomena beyond our current scientific reach? In this video, we revisit what experts have really discovered. Evidence and observations that, once assembled, force us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the Wiltshire crop circle mystery. As the phenomenon intensified across the English countryside, Wiltshire emerged as the undeniable heart of it all, a place where rolling fields seemed to hum with an unseen energy. The late 1970s marked a turning point when strange, perfectly shaped circles began to appear with unnerving precision, patterns too orderly to be dismissed as mere weather damage or local pranks. Before this, stories of fairy rings and flattened crops had lingered on the edges of rural folklore, easy to ignore and easier still to rationalize away. But in Wiltshire, something different was unfolding. With its sweeping agricultural plains and its haunting proximity to Stonehenge and Avebury, two of Britain's most mysterious ancient sites, the region became the focal point of a global enigma. Nearly 80% of all recorded crop circles in the UK appeared here, turning this quiet landscape into the epicenter of fascination, fear, and speculation. Some said it was the geology, the chalk-rich soil, and natural conductivity of the land that somehow attracted or amplified unknown energies. Others pointed to Wiltshire's alignment with ancient ley lines, invisible veins of force said to trace across the earth, intersecting precisely where the circles appeared. Whatever the cause, the sheer concentration was impossible to ignore, and the patterns themselves were evolving, as if learning. Simple rings gave way to vast geometric mandalas, spirals within circles, and fractal-like symmetries that seemed too advanced for chance. Some even displayed a haunting illusion of three-dimensionality, visible only from above, as though meant for eyes not bound to the ground. Then came the confession that shook the mystery to its core. In 1991, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley stepped forward, claiming that they had been behind many of the earliest and most iconic crop circles, beginning in 1978. Using only wooden planks, ropes, and careful measurement, they said they had fooled the world for over a decade. The revelation stunned believers and delighted skeptics, turning what many saw as a supernatural mystery into an elaborate human hoax. Their demonstration showed how easily an intricate design could be created in a single night if one had the patience, the tools, and a sense of geometry. Following their admission, replication experiments became a kind of competition. Artists, pranksters, and researchers alike began testing how closely they could reproduce the patterns seen in the fields. Many succeeded, producing designs that matched the originals in precision and scale. reinforcing the notion that there was no need to invoke aliens, plasma vortices, or secret military technologies to explain what was happening. The skeptics had their victory, or so it seemed. But the mystery refused to die. For every circle that could be explained by human trickery, there were others that defied such simplicity. Some formations displayed edges so clean and stems so gently bent that they seemed untouched by mechanical force. In several instances, entire complexes of circles appeared across multiple fields overnight, without any signs of entry or disturbance in the soil. No footprints, no tire marks, no evidence of human presence at all. Even trained investigators found themselves standing in the dawn light, surrounded by patterns too perfect and too vast to easily dismiss. The hoax-only explanation began to waver under the weight of anomalies that couldn't be reproduced by simple planks and ropes. Something else seemed to be at play, something that operated quietly, invisibly, and with surgical precision. That suspicion drew the attention of scientists. Among the most prominent was biophysicist W.C. Levengood, who dedicated years to studying the biological and electromagnetic properties of the crops and soil found within these formations. His findings were unsettling. Inside the circles, plant nodes, the small joints that connect parts of the stem, were often elongated, as if the plants had been exposed to brief bursts of heat or radiation. Some stems contained tiny expulsion cavities, small blowholes where internal moisture seemed to have boiled out from within. Levengood's studies also noted magnetic anomalies and the presence of microscopic magnetic particles embedded in the soil, suggesting that intense energy, possibly microwave level, had been involved. In contrast, control samples taken from outside the formations showed none of these effects. To him, this was evidence of an unknown, directed energy process rather than mechanical flattening. His work became a cornerstone for those arguing that the phenomenon was not entirely man-made. Yet critics were quick to challenge his conclusions, pointing to issues in his methodology: inconsistent sampling, possible contamination, and the absence of repeatable experimental controls. Still, his data persisted as one of the most intriguing and controversial bodies of evidence connected to the phenomenon. Beyond Levengood's research, other investigations uncovered strange environmental shifts in and around the formations. Soil samples sometimes displayed higher electrical conductivity, while moisture content seemed altered compared to untouched ground nearby. Magnetometers occasionally registered spikes or distortions, as though something had temporarily magnetized the earth beneath the crops. In a few locations, minute traces of magnetite, tiny iron particles, were found distributed across the flattened areas, a detail that sparked speculation about airborne dust, lightning discharges, or something even less understood. Critics suggested more mundane explanations, like metal tools or stakes used by hoaxers, but not every finding could be dismissed so easily. Even the plants themselves seemed changed under closer inspection. Microscopic analysis revealed internal cell wall fractures, ruptured vascular tissues, and changes in growth hormone activity, effects consistent with rapid exposure to heat or radiation. Such alterations could not be produced by simple human trampling without visible crushing or damage, raising the unsettling question of what force had acted upon them. As if to deepen the strangeness, several researchers documented cases of electromagnetic interference near the formations. Compasses spun erratically, batteries drained, and instruments malfunctioned as if responding to an unseen field. Radiation meters occasionally registered brief spikes, or equipment refused to calibrate properly until removed from the site. To believers, these were signs of an unknown technology or natural energy interacting with the environment. To skeptics, they were little more than artifacts of faulty devices or environmental contamination. Yet the experience of those who stood in the fields, witnessing vast, perfect patterns that seemed to appear from nowhere, left an indelible impression. Whether born from the minds of gifted artists, the hand of nature, or something entirely beyond our comprehension, the crop circles of Wiltshire remain one of the most haunting modern mysteries, their beauty and precision whispering a quiet challenge that perhaps not everything in our world can be neatly explained. Across the fields of Wiltshire and beyond, the crop circle phenomenon began to reveal a new and unsettling dimension, an intelligence woven into the patterns themselves, one that seemed to speak in geometry rather than words. What had once appeared as simple, flattened rings of wheat began evolving into breathtaking mathematical symphonies, constructed with a precision that defied both time and human capability. Many formations displayed unmistakable elements of sacred geometry: the golden ratio, Fibonacci spirals, and complex grids resembling Metatron's cube and Platonic solids. To those who studied them closely, this was no coincidence. These patterns mirrored principles found in art, nature, and cosmic structure, suggesting an intentional design meant to resonate on a deeper level. Each formation seemed to hum with mathematical harmony, its angles and ratios perfectly aligned, as if calculated to evoke a silent understanding rather than a direct message. Enthusiasts saw in this precision a deliberate code, a universal language that transcended culture and time. Yet skeptics countered that geometry itself is not proof of mystery. Any skilled team with proper tools and planning could replicate such alignments. But beneath the measured arguments, the feeling remained, a quiet awe that something greater might be at work, using the land as its canvas. As researchers began mapping the coordinates of these intricate designs, another layer of strangeness emerged. Some of the most sophisticated formations appeared to align with celestial events or planetary configurations. Circles mirrored the orbital paths of Saturn, or the distinctive shape of the Orion constellation. Others corresponded with solar positions on solstices or eclipses. These coincidences, if they were coincidences at all, raised uncomfortable questions about intention. Were these alignments deliberate attempts to mirror the heavens on Earth, or simply a byproduct of overzealous interpretation? Advocates for the extraterrestrial hypothesis insisted that these alignments were messages, cosmic signatures left by intelligences beyond human comprehension. To them, the patterns were like astronomical telegrams written in stalks of wheat. Skeptics, however, dismissed the correlations as selective observation, noting that when enough circles are drawn, some will inevitably align with celestial bodies purely by chance. Still, the precision of certain designs and their synchronization with astronomical data left even hardened critics unsettled. Then came the interpretations that sent ripples through both scientific and fringe communities. Patterns resembling DNA helices, atomic structures, and even binary sequences that seemed to encode intelligible data. Some formations appeared to reflect molecular diagrams or ancient symbols, while others were interpreted as visual translations of complex mathematical constants. To many, this suggested intentional encoding, a message written in the universal language of mathematics and biology. But decoding such symbols proved elusive. Each interpretation seemed to spawn dozens more, and the lack of definitive evidence left researchers caught between awe and uncertainty. Were these patterns genuine communications, or the result of human projection, our minds imposing order on chaos? The ambiguity only deepened the mystery. Some viewed the formations as a kind of symbolic interface, bridging art, science, and spirituality, while others maintained they were masterpieces of modern land art, designed not to deceive, but to provoke wonder. Perhaps, they suggested, the creators, whoever they were, intended not to deliver information, but to awaken curiosity, to remind humanity that mystery itself can be a message. Among the thousands of formations that have appeared, several stand as landmarks in the phenomenon's evolution. The 1996 Julia set remains one of the most iconic. Appearing near Stonehenge, it spread across the field in a stunning fractal pattern, composed of over 150 circular elements arranged in a swirling configuration of perfect proportion. Witnesses claimed it materialized in broad daylight within a single hour, a feat that seemed impossible to achieve unnoticed. Investigators who examined the site reported electromagnetic irregularities and plant anomalies, reigniting debates about non-human intervention. Years later, replication teams still struggled to match its precision under similar time constraints. The Julia set became a defining moment, a silent challenge to the human hoax theory. Then, in 2008, thousands of miles away in Wiltshire, California, another extraordinary formation appeared, a chameleon-like figure surrounded by concentric rings. Its complexity rivaled anything seen in Wiltshire, proving that the phenomenon was not confined to one region or culture. Though later linked to a viral marketing stunt, the event demonstrated how easily artistry, mystery, and speculation could merge into one powerful narrative, feeding the phenomenon's endurance. The intrigue continued into 2010, when a formation surfaced that appeared to contain an encoded numerical message. Researchers spent months analyzing the arrangement, convinced that hidden within its structure lay coordinates, mathematical constants, or even a symbolic map. The pattern resisted full translation, but the pursuit itself reignited public fascination. The idea that the fields might hold a cipher, waiting for someone to unlock, cast an eerie light on every new appearance that followed. And then, in 2018, came the Milk Hill Mega Formation, a colossal pattern stretching nearly 900 feet across, made up of countless rings and arcs, nested with astonishing precision. Witnesses swore it appeared overnight, its scale and accuracy challenging even the most elaborate hoax explanations. To replicate it under realistic conditions would have required a small army, perfect coordination, and the cover of total darkness. Yet by dawn, there it was, a silent, impossible geometry carved into the landscape, as if drawn by an unseen hand. As the evidence accumulated, so did the counter-arguments. Skeptics warned of selective reporting, noting how believers tended to highlight unexplained formations while ignoring proven hoaxes. They argued that cognitive bias drove much of the mystery, that people saw messages because they wanted to. In some cases, data was found to be tampered with or entirely fabricated. Hoaxers seeking fame or mischief had occasionally seeded fields with misleading evidence, contaminating samples and blurring the line between genuine mystery and human deceit. Even within the research community, disagreements grew fierce, and several once prominent claims were later retracted. Despite decades of investigation, no controlled experiment has ever reproduced the alleged non-physical forces said to create these patterns. Laboratories have failed to demonstrate any mechanism that could flatten crops without mechanical contact, while reproducing the biological and electromagnetic anomalies reported in the field. Without such repeatable results, mainstream science remains unmoved. Academic institutions, wary of reputational risk, largely avoid the topic altogether. Funding for serious study is almost non-existent, leaving much of the research to independent investigators and enthusiasts working in isolation. This absence of institutional involvement perpetuates the mystery, trapping it in the borderland between science and speculation. And yet, despite every confession, debunking, and dismissal, the circles continue to appear. Each new formation reignites the same unsettling question. Are we witnessing the handiwork of clever artists pushing the limits of human precision? Or are we glimpsing an intelligence that chooses to communicate not through words, but through patterns of impossible beauty and meaning? The answer remains hidden beneath the stalks, encoded, perhaps forever, in the silent geometry of the fields. Over time, the study of crop circles has entered a new phase, one defined less by the rigid opposition between believers and skeptics, and more by an uneasy synthesis that acknowledges both human ingenuity and lingering unknowns. A growing number of analysts now lean toward what is called a hybrid model, accepting that while most crop circles are undoubtedly the work of skilled human creators, there exists a smaller subset that continues to resist all rational explanation. These outliers, with their uncanny precision, inexplicable anomalies, and sudden overnight appearances, suggest the involvement of factors beyond deliberate artistry. This middle ground between certainty and enigma has become the new lens through which the phenomenon is examined. It concedes the influence of human craft, yet refuses to dismiss the possibility that deeper forces, energetic, atmospheric, or even geophysical, might sometimes play a role. Within this framework, the mystery does not dissolve but transforms into something more complex, hinting that perhaps both intention and environment are entwined in ways not yet understood. Some researchers now believe that the key to understanding these formations lies not in the stars, but within the Earth itself. Energy resonance theories propose that crop circles emerge at nodes of natural power, where electromagnetic fields, underground water currents, and atmospheric plasma intersect in harmonic ways. The suggestion is that these intersections produce standing wave patterns capable of subtly affecting the vegetation above them. Thinkers like Margaret Wertheim and John Burke have speculated that these energy vortices might occasionally interact with crops to produce the distinctive shapes witnessed in the fields. The concept extends further. Some claim that human circle makers, knowingly or not, may sense these energy pathways and use them as guides or amplifiers, shaping their designs along lines of natural force. The electromagnetic disturbances, magnetic anomalies, and odd changes in soil conductivity reported in certain circles could then be seen not as signs of extraterrestrial manipulation, but as manifestations of Earth's own hidden energies. Though these ideas remain unproven, they suggest a vision of the phenomenon rooted in the natural world rather than beyond it, one that situates the mystery within the living body of the planet itself. Yet even as theories grow more refined, the influence of human attention cannot be ignored. Over the decades, the phenomenon seems to have evolved in tandem with its audience. As cameras multiplied, as drones began to patrol the skies, and as media coverage intensified, the circles themselves became more elaborate, more symbolically charged, and visually stunning. It is as if the presence of human observers shaped the evolution of the designs, each generation of circles reflecting our shifting expectations and desires for meaning. Some experts have gone so far as to suggest that the phenomenon behaves almost like a feedback system, responding, adapting, and mirroring the collective consciousness of those who study it. The more the mystery is pursued, the more intricate it becomes, as though observation itself has become part of the creative process. Because of this growing complexity, many serious researchers now advocate what they call the accepted unknown approach. Instead of chasing absolute answers, they focus on careful documentation, open inquiry, and balanced skepticism. This perspective accepts that while many formations are human-made, others display characteristics that cannot yet be replicated or fully explained. The goal, then, is not to force conclusions, but to maintain the question. This shift marks a quiet revolution in the field. Gone are the days when investigators had to declare allegiance to either hoax or alien. Now, a mature acknowledgement of uncertainty defines the discourse. Mystery is not dismissed. It is catalogued, measured, and allowed to exist without immediate resolution. In all this, Wiltshire remains the central stage. Its vast fields continue to host the highest density of documented formations, making it the natural heart of comparative research. The patterns found there, some dating back decades, serve as benchmarks against which all others are measured. Wiltshire's legacy gives it symbolic and practical weight, and it remains the landscape most intimately tied to the mystery's identity. Its proximity to ancient sites like Stonehenge, Avebury, and Silbury Hill only deepens the intrigue. These monuments, aligned with celestial events and rooted in prehistoric ritual, seem to echo the geometry found in the modern formations, linking the ancient and the contemporary in unsettling continuity. Whether or not these connections hold any literal truth, they fuel a powerful narrative that Wiltshire's land has long been charged with meaning, serving as a kind of natural archive of human fascination with unseen forces. Tourism and media attention reinforce this magnetism. Every summer, the county becomes a crossroads of investigators, believers, and the simply curious. Each new formation draws visitors from around the world, their photographs and drone footage spreading instantly across social media. This constant cycle of discovery, documentation, and debate amplifies the phenomenon, ensuring that Wiltshire remains its epicenter. Meanwhile, technology has made these investigations more sophisticated than ever. Researchers deploy ground-penetrating radar, multispectral imaging, and real-time magnetometers to capture every nuance of new formations. Drones hover overhead, while sensors monitor subtle environmental changes. This intense scrutiny makes Wiltshire the most studied agricultural landscapes on the planet. And it is here, many believe, that definitive evidence, if it exists, will one day emerge. And yet, despite decades of observation, one thing has not changed: the divide between skeptics and believers. The same arguments persist, circling endlessly around anomalies, hoaxes, and unexplained residues. The absence of definitive proof only sharpens the tension, allowing the unknown to maintain its hold. Even when new technologies reveal how certain circles are made, others appear that defy replication, renewing the sense of unease. Mystery has become part of the fabric of the phenomenon itself. Each explanation births new questions, and each discovery deepens the enigma. What remains constant is the allure, the quiet pull of the unexplained that draws people back to the fields year after year. Over time, the narrative has shifted. In the wake of the Bower and Chorley confession, skepticism dominated the conversation. But today, the discussion is far more nuanced. The prevailing view acknowledges deception, yet recognizes that not everything fits within that framework. It is a paradigm shaped by ambiguity, a recognition that complexity is not weakness, but honesty. Technology has also transformed the field. High-resolution drones and real-time monitoring now allow investigators to capture evidence with precision that was once impossible. These advances hold the potential to record a formation as it occurs, a single verified capture that could change everything. Such an event, captured under controlled conditions with concurrent readings of electromagnetic or biological anomalies, could force science to confront a new category of natural phenomenon. Citizen scientists are now part of this process, using open databases, crowdsourced imagery, and public collaboration to break the monopoly of traditional research. Every new data point, every pattern logged in real time, expands collective knowledge. This democratization pushes the mystery from the fringes toward scientific credibility. If one day a crop circle forms before unblinking cameras, without human interference, and under verifiable conditions, the implications could be immense. It would not just redefine the study of crop circles. It could challenge our understanding of natural forces, perhaps even the boundaries of physical law itself. For now, that moment remains a distant possibility, but it looms on the horizon like a quiet promise, reminding us that the fields of Wiltshire still guard secrets powerful enough to shift the way we see the world. We started this exploration with puzzlement. How could fields transform overnight into gigantic, perfect symbols? But by tracing history, examining scientific inquiry, and weighing skeptical critique, we've seen that the mystery has matured. It is no longer simply about alien contact or prank artists. It's about recognizing ambiguity, exploring possibility, and demanding rigorous evidence. If you found yourself challenged or intrigued by what experts have uncovered, or by the notion that the unknown may still hide within the wheat rows, let me know in the comments. What explanation makes the most sense to you? Like this video if you enjoy digging deeper into mysteries, and don't forget to subscribe for more investigations that push boundaries, expose anomalies, and ask hard questions.